My name's Matt and I have an addiction to junk food. And if you're overweight, obese or morbidly obese, then you probably do too. And it's not your fault. In this episode, we're going to find out why. We'll be looking at how our brains are hardwired to crave sweet, sugary, fatty foods and how the food companies use those cravings to get us hooked. We'll look at why it happens, how it happens, and use that knowledge to put a plan together on how to beat it. Woohoo! Yes! Welcome to episode 1, week 0 of Fat Matt, Fitness Struggles of a Middle-Aged Dad. If you're a middle-aged dad and you need to lose some weight, consider subscribing to the channel and we'll go on a journey together. A journey that will hopefully take us towards our goal of getting better health and better fitness for ourselves and for our kids. We're going to start with food addiction, or junk food addiction more to the point. I mean, everyone who sees a fat person thinks they've no willpower, they're lazy, they're greedy. All of these words get thrown at you and it gets depressing and it gets you down and it makes you feel bad about yourself. But it's not just our fault. I don't think it's our fault at all. To start with it, we've got to go back millions of years, really, back to the start of evolution. Whatever you are, whatever species you are, whether you're an ant, a bee, a bird, a monkey, a human, whatever it is, your sole aim on planet Earth is to continue the species, to keep going. And there's only two real things that you need to do: feed and reproduce. This episode, we're just going to look at the feeding. The reproducing, you can do it yourself. You know, you probably don't need this video. You need a different video if you want to learn about that. But for this video, we're just going to talk about food. To us, in this modern age, sugar and fat, they're like the swear words. They're the things that you need to avoid. But not too long ago, even just a couple of hundred years, those were the types of food that everyone needed to survive. And for hundreds of thousands of years, that's been the case. Now we're going to look at the science of it. I'm going to gloss over this in proper layman terms. I'll put some links in the description if you want to delve a little deeper to all the real scientists that are talking about this stuff. But bearing that in mind, inside our brain there's a little section that produces dopamine, and that's released when you've done something good. It's the good boy juice, the reward juice. Whenever something good that your body and brain need, you get a little kick of dopamine. Now, for thousands of years, dopamine has been released in our brains in higher doses for anything sugary or fatty, because they were harder to come by and it's what our body needed. So if you had fruit, you get a little kick of dopamine. If you had something fatty, you get a little kick of dopamine. And this would be your brain telling your body that that's good. You need to look out for more of that. The more you give me of that, the better you'll feel and a better reward we'll have. And that was brilliant. The problem comes in the modern world where we've been able to refine that sugar. We can pack hundreds of times the amount of an apple into a little sugary package. It's delicious to eat, and that instantly releases masses more dopamine. It makes you feel good and you get addicted to that feeling. Let's look at it in the drug sense. In South America, they grow the cocoa leaf. That's where you make cocaine from. Now all the farmers will pick a leaf and they'll chew on the leaf and they get a little buzz, a little tingle. It's like a tea for them. It keeps them going through the day, but it's not seen as a bad thing to chew on a cocoa leaf. It releases a tiny amount of that drug. But if you get thousands of those leaves and put it through a process where you're refining and refining and refining until it comes down into a fine powder, and that goes up your nose, pow! You're getting thousands times more potency, and that's going to get you hooked. And it's a similar thing that these companies are doing with food. It's fucking criminal. What chance do you have? You don't stand a chance. And by the time you go to eat an apple, there's just nothing there. That's why people aren't liking fruit, because your brain is tricked and it's not giving you these rewards that you crave. I was a smoker for many, many years and I gave it up just like that. Overnight I stopped smoking because I know one cigarette will kick me off and I'll be back to smoking again. You don't see alcoholics who can have one day, a cheat day. You can't do it as an alcoholic. You can't do it as a drug addict. You can't do it as a smoker. So why should you be able to do it as a food addict. When I stopped smoking, I read a book called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. If you're looking to stop smoking, I highly recommend it. He kind of self-hypnotized you during the book to understand and know every single part of the craving of smoking. You treated it as a monster. And I'm planning to look at the bad foods in exactly the same way. They're monsters. They're trying to get me. And now I'm armed with that information. Now I know what the game is. Now I know what I'm up against. Now I can find out how to fight it. But before we do that, let's find out where we are today, where we're starting from. This is the tale of the tape. Week 0. The neck, 17.5 inches. Chest, 49. Belly, 53.5 all the way around. The waist, a gut-busting 50 inches, and the fat arse comes in at 49. But now, that all-important weight, a whopping 19 stone. 262 pounds, at just a tad under 120 kilograms. Wait a minute, what? 50-inch waist? That's not what it says on the trousers. Where's that come from? Man, I'm wearing elasticated trousers now. 40-inch, elasticated at the side, so it could be 50. Who knows? I remember the days of 32s back in my 20s. And 19 stone! 19 stone. Shit. Just over 3 years ago, my wedding day, I was just a tad over 13. 6 stone. They say the weight's just a number, and it is, it's just a number, but mine's a bloody big number. To be fair, it's a lot bigger than I want, and I'm not that bothered about what my weight is. I know muscle can weigh more than fat, so the weight doesn't matter that much to me. In fact, talk about goals, let's have a look at some goals. Short term, medium and long term. XXL regular fit, a fine looking shirt, little bit tight down the front, but I can't do up the neck. Goal number 1, be comfortable in that regular fit. Goal number 2, XXL slim fit. Just about do up the buttons, but if I sit down, they're gonna pop. Goal number 2, button up the slim fit. Goal number 3, the wedding shirt. 3 years ago, and not a chance. Long-term goal number 3, get back in that wedding shirt. That wedding shirt, just not 3 years. Wow. It really is a bit of an eye-opener. What are your goals? If you're going to set off on this journey with me, get it in the comments and then tell us what your goals are, whether it's weight, whether it's clothes to run a marathon. Tell us what those goals are and let's see if we can get them together. So that's how fat I am. Let's find out how fit I am. So I managed 1 press up, 1. I didn't think I'd get that, to be honest. I managed to push 1 out and I managed 5 on my knees. So that was hard work. I did 10 press ups. That was, I say, press ups. The form wasn't really good. I couldn't hold my hands behind my head, but I got up for 10. Did a minute of skipping, mainly stopping because I kept getting it caught. I did 10 in a row a couple of times. but probably did about 30 seconds in total skipping. That did me. Minute on the boxing, jabbing once a second. Probably the last 10 seconds I really went for it, and that wiped me out. Bodyweight squats, managed to get 10. One press up, couple of sit-ups, and a little bit of skipping. Not a good start, but it is a start, and that's all we needed. Get started, and now we can improve from there. I've got to set myself a strategy, and the first thing I'm going to do is attack those monsters, those dopamine monsters. We said if you eat sugary or fatty food, it releases an awful lot of dopamine, and fruit and regular foods can't come close to releasing that. So each week I'm just going to cut out one thing and bring those dopamines down, because this is an interesting thing. Eating the food now doesn't give you as big of a dopamine release as just seeing or thinking about the food. You see the golden arches or a poster for your favourite food, those dopamine chemicals are already being released in massive amounts. They're rewarding you just for thinking about it. So the first thing I'm going to do really is diet 101. Cut the bread and cakes and see where that gets us, and then we'll move on from there. If you're enjoying this week's show, give us a big thumbs up. If you think this might help you on your journey, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'm Fat Matt, I've no bread, and I'll see you next week.